Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody that everybody's dead.
Army. It's game, everybody.
If you guys want some a more stupid name trivia, I fucking hallucinated an R at the end of his name for so long. I thought it was Gamer2345. So I was shook when I finally realized that after all these many months, it was just Game. And I was like, the fuck? How did I? Never mind.
It sounds a lot better,
So
actually.
it's Gamer23456789, everybody. That's his full name, but his nickname is Game2345.
Gamer sounds a lot better.
And Game, tell us why you're here.
Well, I'm here because you invited me in, and for that, I'm very appreciative. You know, you guys are doing great work, and it's nice to get to be a little part of that.
I think you're here just because you want to hear us talk about your series.
Well, that too. The small narcissistic part of me, you know, can't help but say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, brush my shoulder a little bit, pat the ego.
For those that don't know, Game is the author of Cuddled in the Lamia Coils, which, as everyone knows, is like the 15th Lamia series that Dangerous has. But in listening to it again in preparation for this podcast, I kind of realized something about it that makes it a lot different than the other series that Dangerous has. Before we get to that, though, we're gonna have Boggle pimp out all of Dangerous's stuff.
First and foremost is the YouTube channel where she posts most of her videos. You know, that's probably how all of you guys found her. Next is her Patreon. And then through there, once you become a patron, you can... I mean, technically, the Discord is... she has a Discord that's open to non-patrons, but I mean, that's how I found out about it, was when they were like, oh, hey, now that you're a patron, you can link your Patreon to Discord. So she's also got a Discord where... You know, this is actually where Stephen and I are recording this podcast, and that's where a lot of other fans and writers hang out, and even Dangerous herself visits every week at Saturday night / Sunday morning. She also has a Twitter where it basically is, you know, another update system where she's like, hey, just posted this audio to YouTube. And occasionally, every once in a while, she'll post something else, but it's mostly just another announcement system. And then most recently is her Redbubble. You can buy her merch.
All right, and now on to the two recent reviews, one of which is going to be kind of weird for me to talk about. But first up is Visited by a Reluctant Succubus by Missing, everyone's favorite, that starts with a D, Denmark, no, he's Dutch. He's Dutch. Everyone's favorite Dutch person on the Discord, Missing. So, Boggle, what did you think about this audio?
I thought it was so freaking funny and so freaking cute and so freaking relatable, because as the title would imply, this succubus is trying to drain your energy, as they all do, but she's reluctant about it because it's like one of those first day on the job type situations. And it's such a unique idea to me, because you'd never think to combine that sort of, you know, real life struggle with a freaking succubus of all creatures. But Missing wrote it very well. And obviously Dangerous performed it very well. She absolutely captured this, you know, nervous, awkward, you know, stuttery kind of new kid on the job, where she's like, oh, shoot, what do I do? And, oh, dang it, this went wrong. And, oh, my gosh, this is awful. I'm sure all the people back home are laughing. It was so... Honestly, and I also found it kind of interesting because, I mean, even though it was just about basically watching her first night trying and failing to seduce a human, there were, like, tiny bits of references to kind of, like, lore, so to speak. When at one point, you know, the listeners implied to kind of laugh because she is so pathetic. And she's like, hey, this is a lot harder than it looks, okay? And she kind of explains how, you know, there's a lot that goes into becoming a full-blown succubus, like the infamous rib breaker that we all know and maybe love or not. And I'm like, you know, I'm almost here for the lore. Like, I want to know in Missing's eyes how being a succubus works. But yes, it was a very cute little audio. It was very creative and sweet and had me laughing.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It is an extremely cute audio. As soon as I saw the title, I was like, I knew I'm gonna fall in love with like the whole concept. I didn't even know Missing. I know he was always like, yeah, I wrote a script, and so I had no idea what it was about. So when it came out, I was like, oh my god, dude, that's awesome.
He sent me a copy months ago, and
Oh my
it became a
fucking
running
God,
yeah.
gag that it was never
everyone
gonna
sends you
release.
copies of scripts. It's
Mhm.
not a surprise to me anymore.
I'm very special in the Discord. Everybody loves me. I'm everyone's favorite editor and reviewer.
I think AJ referred you as everyone's cheerleader.
I call her my
Honestly, the
whiteboard.
funny thing is he's not the only one to use that term. I think one other person has called me that, and I'm like, damn straight, dude. It's the truth.
And then Gamey said you call her your whiteboard.
My whiteboard. It's like when I'm drawing a blank or I need a little help with direction. It's like, all right, here's a bunch of broken up pieces of nothingness. Can you help me piece something together here? And she's been very good about helping me, get past sticking points with the writing. I mean, I don't consider myself a writer per se, so I find myself getting stuck more often than not, and I need somebody to bounce the ideas off of, and Boggle's been that person.
Time I'm very popular with the Discord. I've got a long list of references of people who can back me on that claim, and I'm done boosting my own ego now. This is going to be a night for everyone. First me, then Stephen with the other audio. We'll get into later, and then obviously this is games episode. But yeah, anyways, back to
Let's go back to boosting Missine's audio, which I promised we would do. I feel like I've made it clear for the few people that listen to these repeatedly. I really like the more cutesy, awkwardy types of characters that Dangerous plays. I think she's someone with like so much confidence and like the opposite of these types of characters. At least how she presents herself. It's always funny to see her play like this type of character, like someone like Angela. And so to have like this very powerful creature who just is so, I don't want to say bad, but just so like overthinking her own job to the point where she can barely perform it, and it's just so cute. And I really like the ending, and I'm kind of hoping that we get more of this character, honestly.
I guess I'll go ahead and jump in. Yeah, I was also speaking with Missing during his creative inception on this project, and I really thought, like you said, the concept was different. It was a lot different than a lot of the stuff we've heard from DA. Somebody that wants to be a dom, has all the tools to be a dom, but the personality falls short. Not in the sense that it's not engaging. It's just that she's kind of a fumble, and she at the beginning she's talking herself up and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm this, that, and the other thing," and of course I should be a pro at this. And then again, she just kind of falls short, and it's very cute and it's endearing and it's different. Anytime you can get something different from an artist that you really like, I mean that's just icing on the cake right there.
I also like the lore that's been established that apparently succubi get more demonic the more successful jobs they do. Because she says like she just looks like this normal cute little thing that's growing horns, but apparently you have to earn looking like a demon when you're a succubi.
That's why I jokingly said, "Wait, what if this was like some backstory to Rib Breaker? This is how she used to be, and then she earned that
Before she
demonic
became the
streak,
best.
and yeah, became an absolute literal demon from hell, nightmare monster creature."
It's funny. We'll probably bring up the discussion of possible prequels on the next audio, but like that would be kind of funny if it turned out that this was like the begin. This was like year one for Dangerous as Succubi.
It's like those first day of work versus 1000th day of work, and like the first day, it's like somebody like standing straight and tall, uniform completely in order, and they're like, "Yes, sir, I'll do whatever you say, sir." Then day 1000, they're like, "Freaking fire me! I don't care anymore." And I'm like, literally.
I tend not to say this a lot because I'm a lot comfortable of Dangerous doing like one shots, and I'm always afraid of like her getting another series because then it just means another thing that like she has to worry about every month. So Missing, please make more of these. This was a joy to listen to. I really like this character.
No, here, absolutely. I don't want to. I probably should keep my mouth shut on this, but I I would like to see. I would like to see the series continued. I think it has legs. It's got ways to go. So, missing, keep doing what you're doing.
Then we move on to the second audio. I don't know how to talk about this, but it is. Oh my god, I hate the title so much. I asked Dangerous to change it, and she never got back to me. But it's
Wait, why don't
half
you
orc.
like it?
I'll get into it in a second, but for those that don't know, it's a half orc fighter girl love confession ASMR roleplay, written by me actually. I don't like the title because I couldn't think of a good title, so I just thought of like, what is this audio literally? And that's what the title is. It's literally the title.
I mean, that's
No.
valid. Also, yeah,
Um,
we have 2 writers on this episode tonight, guys.
so yeah, I wrote this after months of waiting for it. It finally came out, and oh my god, it was perfect. Other than just the things that I noticed about my own writing and the zipper sound effect, but I think it kind of adds a little bit of humor to the situation. That though, I think it's perfect. It's she really helped visualize the scenes that I wrote, and even though I knew like the dialogue and I knew what was happening, it was still very much affected me. Actually being able to hear and visualize them instead of just looking at it on a sheet of paper. But enough about me. What do you guys think about my audio?
It was the worst audio I've ever heard. Oh my freaking god! No, I'm just kidding. It was really cute. Same deal. I'd read the script before because yeah, seriously, everyone sends me their scripts. So guys, hit me up. But I mean, I already knew from the get go that it was, of course, going to be like a cutesy audio. Because I mean, again, like yeah, like Steven said earlier, if you don't know by now, he prefers the cutesy stuff. But getting to hear it kind of brought to life after months of waiting, it was really well done. It was really cute and sweet. I love the fact that she was this tsundere type, kind of like reluctant to admit that she was into you, but at the same time, she kept slipping up and saying it, and I'm like, this is so freaking precious. I love it. But even outside of like the confession itself, just the little other bits of like dialogue that were in there that kind of explained the like quote unquote backstory of everything. Like they referenced 2 other types of characters, I believe a halfling and an elf. So it's like there's the full party. And I'm like, listen, I don't think Steven's planning on making this a series. And now I'm like, wait, tell me about the other 2. And then even the backstory of her, where the audio says that you met her in a tavern and basically were paying her to help you out, and that's what started this journey. And I'm like, I know that's a very basic way that D&D starts out, but like I really want to see. And I'm sitting here like, how did the first session go? Somebody tell me. So that's where my thoughts are going, aside from just the cutesy the confession, which is very sweet. It was great audio.
If you guys can't tell, I've been playing tabletop RPGs for like good bit of like the last like 8 years. And so I really drew on like kind of like my experience of like the tropes of like character development. And so I kind of use that to like, well, how would I condense you need to know enough information about why this orc loves you. And so I was kind of like, let me just basically imply that she's basically what it is I thought of her as like a level 9 character. And it's like, what experiences would they have had together? And yeah, I tried to like hint that like there is much bigger stuff that happened in the background, and you're basically at the climax of like this like relationship that's been building for quite a while. As far as making more, I mean, if people want more, I can definitely do that. I've already like kind of thought about what if I did like this many episodes. I kind of hinted at Boggle what I would want to do if I ended up doing more. So, you know, if people ask me or if Dangerous is like, hey, you should do more, then I would love to do more. Although reading the comments, I do have an interesting idea now, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, haha! I guess the Yandere orc got her way." And I was like, "Huh, that's interesting now."
Yeah, both this week's audios were like, hey, maybe it ties into other series. Hey, crossover time. But yeah, that great audio. Good work, man. I love it.
Thank you. I was worried that it would just be too cheesy, but I was worried that it would be the wrong kind of cheesy, where everyone's just like, "Oh, this is too sugary." But it seems like I really got the right type of cheesiness with
Yeah.
like how she is, which is just the standard tsundere type of like cheesiness.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I think it was perfectly well balanced. It didn't seem too quote unquote brutal, but it didn't seem too like overly sweet either. I think you and Dane just both hit a really nice middle, and I was enjoying the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Even if it doesn't ever get a sequel, I still enjoyed it for what it is, and I'm like. Also, to be fair, everyone in this fandom loves muscle large women, so I'm not surprised this one got popular.
I really like the voice Dangerous did too. I apologize, game, that we're talking about my shit before we get to your shit.
No, go. By
To
all
be fair, I'm
means.
excited.
You should be. Trust me. I been there, felt that. I know exactly how you feel right now. There's something so organically surreal about hearing words that you put on paper or put on a computer screen and envision how you think they would come to life, and then hearing somebody with the talents of Dangerous actually do it and actually bring them to life. It's really cool. It gets your pulse going.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially reading like the comments and shit and seeing people like, "Hey man, that's good." I'm like, "Yes, it didn't suck," which is what I was afraid of. The people being like, "Wow, Dangerous made her first bad audio." I'm like, "Oh, that was
No,
me."
everyone loves orcs too much.
But I didn't know exactly how to explain the voice story. I was like, just make it. I think literally I just said, I don't know, like something like Freya, where it's like really like kind of like deep or deepish and like tough, but also really sweet. And so I really liked the voice she did it because, as obvious as it sounds, it's pretty much she just did the Yandere orc video. She just did the Yandere orc voice, but like very much like softened it and made it like much sweeter in tone. And it also she also has like kind of a lisp. It sounds like, and the most likely because of like her teeth. And so I liked it. So when she got angry, it very much like she sounded very intimidating, but when she got like much softer, it wasn't like too unbelievable that she would be soft like that. Also, one final tidbit, because I feel like we've talked about me enough. I wrote this before I knew FN was going to do Yandere York. In fact, I didn't know FN was going to do Yandere York. As soon as I saw Orc, I was like, that's not mine. Oh my god, someone else did an Orc video before me. No!
I still remember that week because when we did the podcast, he was like low key, high key. I can't talk. Low key and high key salty about it. He was like, "Listen, I'm not mad that FN made an orc video before me, even though I was scripting mine already. I'm totally not." I felt so bad, but I was laughing hard. I remember that week.
It was like, Dangerous is probably never even going to do mine, but then she did it, and then it was cool too because I asked her like, "Hey, like, is it going to be done soon?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's going to be this Saturday." And I'm like, "Oh shit." It's fucking awesome. And then like after I told her like 3 times like, "Oh, by the way," like just non-subtly, "By the way, you know, you can upload that publicly if you want." And then literally like the day of, she's like, "How would you like it if it came out if I released it today?" And I was like, "Yes, please. Please." So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And FN, if you listen to this somehow, even though I'll probably send you a message later, I think we have something we can discuss.
You guys went from being rivals to possibly being a crossover. His orc is still better than yours, but no.
Oh my
I'm
god!
just-
To be fair, I listened to episode 2 a lot because, like, Boggle likes to make fun of me for. I like the softer, sweeter stuff, and even if it's
you
someone
don't
who
say.
and so even if it's like this big hulking Yandere, there's like so many like soft and sweet moments in that like makes me really enjoy just listening to that over and over again. Um, although I might be listening to mine more now just because I wrote it and ego. um, do you guys have any final thoughts?
Well, actually, I would say that's a good thing, if nothing else, to look at the comment section, and then you go back and read it, and you get a feel for how people are viewing things. Because there's been multiple times within my own series where I was thinking, oh, okay, this couple lines going to play out like this, and then people took it completely a different way, and I think we'll get a little bit into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for future episodes, it's nice to be able to re-listen and then and try to figure out why people reacted a certain way, especially when you didn't think they would.
Before we move on to Lamia's Coils, I do want to say my favorite comment was someone was like, "Oh, so does this mean that the Lonely Lamia series is gone? Does this mean the Lonely Lamia series is finished because this girl killed her?" And Boggle dared me to, and I couldn't do it, even though teachers probably would have found it funny. I was like, it really would have been great if we just let that guy believe that that there was so Lonely Lamia series. But I'm not going to do that because that'd be mean. Besides, maybe she killed Yara.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. She didn't kill Yara. Yara's too nice.
Because technically, even if Yara isn't quite as bad as like the original Yandere Lamia, she technically pulled the same thing. Like, I found you, and now I'm gonna keep you. And it's like, well, shit. So maybe.
Which means we're segueing into Cuddled and Lamia's Coils. So let's talk about Yara.
Yeah.
What's her deal?
What's her deal?
Yeah. Tell her all of the character motivations, including all the twists you have planned with her.
Yeah,
Well,
give
I
us the
don't-
spoilers. Tell us how the series is gonna end. Tell us everything. I'm just kidding.
Or just kind of give her what was kind of like the concept of her in the series when you kind of started. What inspired you to make the series?
I basically was kind of looking for a fresh start off of a role play I had done, and Dangerous has actually narrated it. A Night with the Lamia Princess, and it was actually a role play I had done with my own wife, and we had gotten through. It was a 2-part series, and I'm just kind of like, gosh, I can't really. It's the same basic concept, but I just don't like where this is going. I can't really feel like I can naturally tie this all together. So I'm like, okay, let me start from scratch and make something a little bit more wholesome. At least I envisioned it to be a little bit more wholesome, because Yara's not a predator per se. She's not somebody that's looking, to do harm. She's just kind of this being that happened to cross somebody that she has a natural physical dominance over, and it's like, oh well, I want to toe the line between I have to. This is a person, and I want to treat them with respect, but at the same time, I can kind of do whatever I want with them. So so how does she toe that line? And I think in the first episode, it was like, okay, yeah, I won't force you to do anything, but you're scared and you're lost and you don't know what the hell's going on, and you're staring at this beautiful woman, but at the same time she has a 40-foot tail or whatever it is, and she can easily overpower you, so you don't quite know how to react. So it's kind of just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna do what you say, because I don't think I have a choice in the matter. But at her core, she's not. She is as sweet as she comes off. She is just, you want to call it Lamia instincts. The fact that it is a female male story was done on purpose because of the fact that it is Lamia's, because I'm kind of was looking to flip the script of normal social protocols, whereas it's like, in our society, males are naturally bigger, stronger, whatever, just from a physical standpoint, just strictly from a physical biological standpoint, naturally. So it's you flip it, and it's like this group of beings that are all female, but they're all just completely physically alpha. There's nothing you can do.
If they can't get you with the tail, apparently they can hypnotize you, and then they can paralyze you with bites.
Yeah, just
A little OP.
put you to sleep. That's all. Just a little siesta.
I think that's why I really like Yara, just because even though like me and Boggle talk about this all the time, anytime Dangerous voices a character, I'm not gonna trust him unless it's like Alpha and the half work I wrote, because I know the half work's motivation for everything. Those are about the only characters I really trust in the Dangerverse. But the way you write her, she really does come off as like legit in everything she does. I really don't like. I believe like everything she says. Like I think she's just like, yeah, she's being selfish because of course she wants to coil. Of course she wants to wrap her coils around us, but I don't believe she wants to hurt us at all or take advantage of us in any way.
It's more or less trying to get, she wants to get something, but she also doesn't want to feel guilty that she's the only one getting something. She has obviously has pleasures to offer, and she knows that, and she wants us to delve in it as well. It's just getting past the whole frightened, physically inept compared to her, human, and getting them to go, oh, here's this being you didn't think was possible, and now you're amongst a village of them, and you're scared, you're lost, you're obviously not from this particular part of the world. You're from organized society, so you're being just plunged into everything that you're not familiar with, and then on top of it, you're meeting a species you thought was impossible to exist. So she holds all the cards in the matter, but she's trying to, again, not be OP. Even though she is, she's trying not to with every fiber of her being. It's hard.
I also like these two other Lamias that you have. I might pronounce one of them wrong. It's Alessandra and Sophitia, right?
Selvina.
Sovina. All right. Okay, that's more my stupid spelling than it is than it is Dangerous. Should have put on subtitles, but I liked their introduction where fuck, it's Sovina, right?
Selvina, yes.
Okay, Sovina or Selvina?
Selvina.
Selvina.
Oh dang, I've been
Okay.
saying it wrong.
I am terrible with names. I've been
Especially fantasy names. Like I get the appeal, but I'm like, dang it, it's a fantasy name. I don't know how to pronounce this. Why couldn't you have been normal?
yeah, I used to call Boggle Boogle for a while.
I still don't understand how people mispronounce that, because even though, yes, obviously my name is completely fictional, it's like there's only one O. So how people kept saying Boogle when it was clearly an O, Boggle, I never understood that. It's like, unless you hallucinated the second O the way I hallucinated R in game, I don't see how you guys keep mispronouncing a single O as two O's.
See, I have an advantage. There's an old board game that's actually called Boggle. Well, it's not even a board game.
I know that game. Yeah.
I actually did not take inspiration off that. So when somebody even said, they're like, oh, you mean like the game? I was like, there's a game called Boggle? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, hey, I'm a game. Hey, I'm a game too.
And then in episode 2, you had these two newer Lamias, Alessandra and Silvina, and it's really interesting to kind of like see more characters in this universe to kind of like get how they feel. Like apparently all Lamias, or at least the ones that live here, are nice or good aligned. I was gonna say kind and gentle, but Alessandra, I'm kind of a little little bit on her, but I do find that funny. I like
she is definitely a more stereotypical, like dark, dangerous kind of character, or not even just the voice, but like the way she acts. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. This one's the more explicitly domineering and aggressive one.
And funny thing about it is, I think I'm pretty sure I've told Boggle this. The way DA did the voice of Alessandra, that's originally how I envisioned Yara sounding.
Wow.
Again,
Difference.
yeah, exactly. Well, you just maybe not in the way it came across, but just kind of, again, this almost overpowering presence. But in retrospect, it worked out much better because again, Selvina is kind of higher pitch. She's definitely more of the naive, just kind of happy-go-lucky, and Yara's right in the middle.
I like the thing. I like the part with Sylvina where she wanted to get a quick cuddle in, and
Yeah.
Quick
She's
what I
cute.
love.
I'm kind of disappointed that out of all the three Lamias that we've met, she's the one we spent the least amount of time with because I kind of I enjoy her like quirky little personality. Because like Steven said, yeah, asking like, oh, can I just hug him really quickly? And Alexandra kind of being like almost like the exasperated older sister going no, and she's like, but can I please? But no. I'm like, I love this. That was like I think my favorite part of the second episode was just them like bantering a little bit before Alexandra takes us off in private. But that was cute.
I also
Well,
liked how. Sorry, good.
no. Not to give too much away. I'm still working on part 4, which is I want to say maybe 3/4 done. But I do have an idea for part 5 that will kind of flesh Selvina out a little bit more.
Yay!
Ooh, nice.
I do think it's funny how hypocritical Alessandra is too, because she even admits like, oh yeah, I kind of did this hypnosis thing on you, like the snake from Jungle Book, just so I can myself get a few cuddles in too. I was like, oh, you sly dog.
Well, and that's how you interpreted that scene. You figured like she was just looking to, basically, yeah, just get a hold of him, just to get a chance to feel them.
See, now you're
Everyone
questioning
loves
me, and I
the.
don't. Now you're questioning me, and I don't want to look dumb, so I'm just not going to answer that question.
Yeah, the
I'm not going to
co-host
look
was
dumb in
messy
my own
asking.
podcast. I look dumb in my real life.
See,
Fucking mood.
but this is also going back to what I was talking about earlier, like with your script, and you read the comments, and you're like, you see how people interpret things, and it's like, oh, okay, because to me, I know it was supposed to have a bit of a dangerous air to it, but it was supposed to have I want to say perceived danger instead of actual danger, because that whole scene was meant to assure us, and it totally didn't come across that way to a lot of people. And maybe it's my writing. Maybe I didn't do a good enough job of portraying what I thought, because to me, the way I saw that scene going with the whole hypnosis was, to show that these creatures, these beings, have so much power, and they can not only overpower you physically, but they can overpower you on a mental level, to where, and honestly, I mean, physical is one thing, but if your mind's taken, then anything physical is just it's game set match. So if she could prove to us that she has power over, that they have power over beasts, us being the most sophisticated, us being the ones that can think rationally, and put us in a situation where we think for a moment we're in moral danger when we're really not, but we're moral danger and we physically can't do anything because our minds are compromised, then of course then they have control over all other beasts, including all of the ones that potentially would do harm to us. So it was meant to be an assurance, but in order to achieve that, you have to have those few moments of, oh my gosh, she's going to kill me. I can't move. I can't do anything. I, I'm scared, but at the same time, I'm fascinated by what I'm seeing.
I love this. Hey, it's meant to be a reassurance when I paralyze you. Don't worry, it's all cool. But I
funny.
mean, I know what you're saying, but still,
It's kind of like it
always
was almost
amuses
like a
me.
tough love type deal. It was just like, you don't really believe, and we've spent an episode by this time. We spent an episode and a half of us giving the side eye and going. I mean, they really haven't given me a reason not to trust them as far as doing anything bad to me, but at the same time, I don't. But yes, with Alessandra being kind of like the big sister and all that, and definitely more of a Dom character, she kind of takes it to she goes the next level that Yara might not.
Yeah, because actually, to be honest, like going back to that hypnosis scene, honestly, what I originally took from it, I thought it was that stereotypical, whenever the younger sibling starts dating, the older sibling is gonna like back that love interest in corner and say, "Hey, if you break their heart, I'll break your neck." So I thought this is basically Alexander's way of saying, "Hey, if you wind up doing anything to hurt Yara, I'm going to kill you." So that's what I took from that scene. Then you were over here going, "No, that was just a reassurance." I was like, I didn't feel very reassured. But again,
And I
like I
know,
understand where you're coming from. So
yeah, and I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people were. I mean, some of the comments. I said some people were like shook up by that. At least from what they were writing. Just like emotionally.
Oh yeah, I
Again,
remember that one person. Yeah, this one comment. The guy said he was like legitimately angry. I was like, I didn't feel angry. I didn't have a violent emotional reaction. I just didn't feel reassured. But yeah,
you know,
I don't know.
which is, and I think that's maybe a testament to DA, because there's one time, and I'm sorry if I'm veering off just a little bit. There's one time where listening to one of her audios evoked a visceral reaction in me, and it was one of the other Lamia uh, series. I can't remember that. It wasn't Lonely Lamia.
Lamia's
It was,
Lullabies.
huh?
Lamia Lullaby. I know exactly
Yes.
what you're gonna talk about.
I was gonna
I
say, I
think
think I know
everyone's
what you're
like
gonna
that.
talk
And when
about too.
she's talking about her child, and
Yeah.
and
Well,
I,
that's a really visceral series.
yes, and I remember listening. That I was actually at work. I was actually on break listening to that, and I remember sitting there
Mood.
and I'm looking down. And my fist is clenched. I didn't even realize it. I'm just going, wow, this is good. And I think that's the difference between what my series is and what that series was, and maybe to a lesser extent, Lonely Lamia. Like this is not meant to be too much as far as like deep and and crazy intellectual plot lines. This is a niche series. This is. Do you like dominant women? Do you have certain fetishes? Well, we're going to cover those. We're going to try to sprinkle in a little bit of fun and a little bit of for my brain's like completely smushed right now. It's just like I said, it's a niche. It's like I'm looking to appeal to people of a certain liking, because it's what I like, obviously.
What's funny is my favorite episode is episode 3 because we as the listener finally take charge.
Oh, my friend. If you like 3, 4 is gonna be right up your alley. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep. I won't say this on
Actually,
the I won't say this on the podcast, but I know I'm gonna like it because I read it last night.
yes. And so far, I hope you like what you've read. Again, I'm about 3/4 of the way done. So
I might need to reread it because I read it before bed, and when I'm ready to go to bed, my mind's just like, eh. So I'm probably gonna give it another read through later on. But yeah, it's this weird thing where like I don't really want to get into my own personal stuff that long, but like I kind of don't like. I don't know if it's just because of lack of knowledge or lack of care, and I don't really like put myself into like this whole like dom sub like type of category. Like I'm pretty sure I'm a switch just because I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the dom or do you want me to be the dom or sub? Whatever you want, baby.
Same.
But I really like it. I'm just a fan of not being a piece of meat in audio role plays. I like moments where I'm able to like take charge or like do something to the story other than just have dialogue
there.
that I'm supposedly having.
God.
So it was really nice that like at that moment, like there's the one moment where we take charge, and I'm really glad you didn't just have it just end like just you kiss her and that's the end. I like the moment where we get to actually walk away, and she gets to like kind of shimmy her way out of out of the body of water we're in.
yeah, that was by design. It was 2.5, again, by then 2.5 episodes of us just kind of reacting, but really not reacting. We're just kind of listening and occasionally getting these little, but wait, or am I safe, or you know what I'm saying. So it's almost kind of like a dam bursting, and episode 3 is completely laced with sensual overtones. And again, kudos to Dangerous for bringing that to life. I really wanted to focus on the idea of her trying to, because in episode 3 she is kind of moving on us. She is kind of getting to the point where, because in episode 1 she alluded to, oh, I'll let you know why you're really here, why I have you, but for now just sleep. You need your rest. Like in episode 3, it's kind of like, oh, okay, she has this she has this whole big elaborate plan of how she's going to seduce us. And in the end, we're just kind of like, okay, screw it. I don't have any say in what's going on. So what do I have to lose? What is she gonna do? Screw it. And she's beautiful. I mean, we're completely forgetting about this whole thing. This is a male, and she's a beautiful female. Just has a very long lower half. So that's just what do I have to lose? Screw it. And it might have been impulsive, but it happened, and then all of a sudden she's like, wait, I've been spending this whole time trying to get you to cave, and then you take me by surprise, and then you walk away. You're an asshole.
That was so satisfying.
You walk away with the power.
And that's kind of the point. And again, without giving too much away, we're going to kind of delve into that a little bit more in the upcoming in part 4. If I can ever get my lazy ass to finish it off, I apologize for the people that have been asking for it. I've just been lazy with work and family life and doing other things. Again, I've said it before. I don't consider myself a writer. This is literally the one and only thing that I have any sort of publishing going on with. Like, I have nothing else going on outside of just, little simple RPs. So you figure I'd be able to put all my energies into it and finish it off quick. Unfortunately, I'm a lifelong procrastinator.
Mood.
Procrastination and obligations are a really bad mix.
Yes. But I'm hoping when this comes out, and I'm not sure what DA's schedule looks like. I'm hoping to, I want to say, get this done by the end of this week. But I'm also looking at maybe working another 6-day week, and if that happens, it's hard.
Well, I sent mine at the beginning of June, so who fucking knows?
I know. I was gonna say, in response to what you just said, I don't think even Dangerous knows what Dangerous' schedule looks like.
To be fair, I don't know people, so if you quote me on this, I'm gonna get really mad at you. I feel like if you have a series already going, you kind of like, if she can get to it, she gets to it a little bit quicker. I don't know.
Well, that was the thing with part 3. I mean, it's been a little over a month, but I had sent it to her and I hadn't heard anything back. And then I sent her an email and I was just like, hey, there it is. Let me know. And then all of a sudden, it was like 3 days later, it was done. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah, you just gotta pester her until you guilt her into doing it. Then she'll get her ass in gear.
I don't like being that. I don't like being that fanboy.
Me neither. But unfortunately, it feels like you have to. But I don't like it either. But yeah. Like, how many times Stephen had to beg her to be on this podcast? Only took like 8 tries.
I think what's funny is Dangerous, we're gonna roast you for a little bit. I think I like to joke that she probably just has a really fast turnaround time. It's just you have to keep asking her until she's like, oh yeah, shit, let me get that done really quick.
Yeah, then she immediately does it the night of.
And there's a part of me that it is like, man, I have 6, I want to say 6 total of these, so I have 3 more to go. And there's a part of me that's going, man, I need to really bust these out before the amount of workload gets to be too much. Because I mean, we just since I've been listening to her, and it's been almost a year now. I mean, the amount of Patreons, the amount of support, the amount of followers on YouTube has just been growing exponentially. And it's like, I better get my stuff out there and get my little limelight going, because eventually, I mean, she's just not going to have enough time. She's not going to. There's only so many hours in the day, and I mean, granted, she's making a good living off of this. I would assume so anyway. But eventually, my little contribution is gonna be no more.
So I have this weird fascination with Lamia's. It's like I said, I like it when people are sweet, nicer to me. I like it when like I have a degree of like I'm not just a piece of meat. But there is a part of me that like really does enjoy yanderes, like the yandere subgenre, I guess. Not like the psycho ones, but the more like, hey, I love you and I want to make sure you're okay. Let me like
cough,
keep you.
Cough.
Let me no. Well, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. FN's work. That might work. But like, I like. I guess it's called the sweet yandere, where it's more like I'm gonna keep you in my apartment forever because I love you and I want to make sure that that you take care of yourself. But it's kind of weird because I really love like the concept of like Lamia just capturing you and just keeping you in her tail, not letting you go. Like I'm a big fan of Lonely Lamia, and I really like the whole Lamia thing. It's weird. Like all three, like people complain that like wow we have too many Lamia series, but like I love all three series that we have. I love the Lonely Lamia just because of fantasy stuff. I love Lamia's Lullaby just because of the story that's going on, and then I love your series also because of the fantasy stuff, fan servicey
Well,
stuff.
and
But
isn't there another one out there, Lude Lamia or something like that? I
I
think there's
think
four actually.
that's just the not safe for work version of Lonely Lamia.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. She does the same voice, so I believe so.
And yeah, I think the full title also is like Lewd Lonely Lamia. So even though obviously she jokingly
okay.
threw in the other lewd, it technically is the because that would also explain why in the most recent Lonely Lamia it was like, oh hey, plot twist, you got her pregnant. Because even though typically not safe for works are not supposed to be canon, I guess this is one of those rare exceptions.
So I have to ask you, what drew you to kind of making a story about a Lamia? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but
Well, I've been doing role plays for a number of years now, just on other forums, and I've always been enraptured with the concept of being a heterosexual male. I think female bodies is the most beautiful thing in the world, the beautiful thing God ever created. But
we'll all
then
agree with that.
and then you parlay that with like the seductive nature of what the movement of a snake is, and to me it's obviously there's a whole lot of sexual undertones that are there. So I just, for my own personal gratification, I started writing on that, and then I ran into the Lonely Lamia. That's how I got familiar with Dangerous. I was just scrolling through YouTube and I found that series, and I was just like, oh damn. I
It
mean,
is her
again,
most popular video.
well, again, I mean, she has a voice that grabs you, and I've listened to other ASMR artists, and again, her voice is just like, wow, okay, there's something different here. This is kind of next level. This isn't somebody. It's funny. She talks about being in her closet, and I was literally going to say this isn't some just average person recording in their closet, but the level of detail and meticulousness that she has. So I was like, wow, okay, well, I signed on to Patreon. It's been the best $5 I've spent every month, and I'm just like, well, okay, I got this. I've got this story that I've written, and I asked my wife, I was like, hey, do you mind if I go ahead and see if she'd be willing to turn this into some kind of role play or whatnot? And she was like, oh yeah, go for it. So I went ahead and edited it and then sent it to Dangerous, and she's like, oh great, yeah, this sounds good. And then she actually went and narrated the entire dang thing, and I'm like, oh, wasn't expecting that. So I'm like, okay, well, I think I need to go ahead and build off of this story, the Lamia Princess one, and go, okay. Like I said earlier, I wanted to make something similar but kind of original, and that's kind of how again for over a decade I've been fascinated with the Lamia concept, and I mean DA is kind of like taken that fascination and taken it to a next level. And it just does well for me to know I'm not as weird as I think I am. To know that there are other people that find this particular genre appealing, and
That's
go ahead.
definitely the best part about joining the DA fandom is finding people that like the same shit as you. So you're like, I'm not weird. Well, I'm weird, but I have other people to be weird with.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, everybody's weird. It's just my weird is different than your weird.
My weird is
can we?
body. My weird is body changing stuff.
So, but yeah, I've really enjoyed being able to do this, and I don't know how long it's going to go. how many more episodes. I actually do have a couple of other ideas for other series, but if DA is going to have the time and the availability to do them later on down the road, that remains to be seen. But for now, I'm just focusing. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting my lazy ass to finish part 4, and hopefully, it's going to be good. Hopefully, it doesn't suck.
Do you, before I close this out, do you guys have anything final to say?
Boggle, I'll
actually
let you
have
go
one-
first.
Oh, I was gonna say I have one thing that's kind of going back to a while ago that I forgot to comment on, but when we were talking about how the 3 Lamias in your series have 3 distinct personalities and 3 different voices that kind of match, I have to say that's what I've always found funny about Danger series, where there is 2 characters that they're gonna run hot and cold, where personality and vocally they're just completely opposites. Because you've got Angie and Emma from the Doll series, Countess and Carmelina from the Vampire series, Nails and Gale from Nails and Gale, Angela and Lola, and then here the fact that yes, of all the personality types and voices to give Alessandra and Slovenia or whatever, I probably said her name wrong, it had to have that same dynamic of like, here's the kind of dominant and low voiced one, and here's the excited, like little one, so to speak, like not physically or age wise little, but just personality was brighter and voice was to match. And I'm like, literally, that's the same dynamic all these other characters have. Because like, again, you probably could classify, because it doesn't work perfectly, but at least like, for example, in the case of the Vampire and Doll series, like Emmy and Carmelina and Slovenia would be on one side, while Alessandra, the Countess, and Angie would be on the other. And I'm like, I find it funny anytime she has to do 2 characters. She's like, how can I make them distinct? Let's give them polar opposite personalities and polar opposite voices to boot, because it is very effective, and I understand why she does it. I just kind of laughed when part 2 happened, or part 3 happened, and getting to hear their voices. I was like, okay, because like you said, Yara's kind of like the middle character who's like a balance between the 2 and isn't really extreme in one direction or the other, and her voice even kind of matches that, because it does seem to be the most like neutral out of the 3 voices. It's still not just Dangerous doing her own voice, as she is putting on some voice for Yara, but like it's not as quote unquote extreme as the voice she does for the other 2, which I just find kind of funny.
And just to throw this out, the other 2 characters kind of happened by happenstance. Again, I said this is the first time I've ever done this. Is the part 1 was the first script I have ever written in my life, and the big challenge, and Stephen, I think you'll probably be able to attest to this, one of the biggest challenges I've found, especially coming from a background of writing role plays where you're constantly reacting to somebody else's writing, is reacting to words that are not said.
Oh god.
So Yara's saying things, and then I'm trying to envision, okay, what would I say in this? And then Yara responds to that, but it's not there. It's not for me to see. So I'm like, how? Okay, gosh, I don't want this to suck. So how can I bypass this in a way? Oh, get more characters. Get more characters to say other things. That way, that our character doesn't have to speak. And it ended up working out great, because again, the dynamics, the different dynamics between Yara, Alessandra, and Salvina, and the 3 completely different characters, or different spectrums, of the Yandere, or whatever you want to call it, the Dom, sub, whatever. And it just ended up working out great. And honestly, I would love to do a side side script which is focusing on Alessandra, because I think her character is as I stated before, it's kind of more to my liking. That it's like ultra Dom. It's like, oh, okay, yes, ma'am, I'll do what you say.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not screwing around with you. You're not screwing around with me. Whatever you just don't kill me. Just don't break my neck. But then when it comes back down, you see the sweeter side. Then you're like, oh, okay, I kind of like this. I mean, she she could kill me anytime she wants to, but she's not. She's being real nice and she's being affectionate. It's like, ooh, I can get used to this.
Anyways, that was all I had to say. So how about you two?
Again, first of all, I'm very flattered that you guys had me on this podcast. I think you guys are doing wonderful work. Not to beat a dead horse, it's just nice being able to kind of throw my 2 cents in, and hopefully, if anything, I can add a little tiny bit to what you guys are doing. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to where this series is, where I have it planned to go. I'm towing the line again. Hopefully, I'm not giving away too much. I'm towing the line on semi not safe for work concepts with the following 3 episodes. I'm trying to effectively mask them to where it's safe for work, but it's not safe for work. If that makes any sense.
It's got to be a lot of fun.
But at the same time, most of these, like anytime DA goes with the seductive voice, it's almost all by default not safe for work. Because the way that woman's able to elicit a reaction, but whether it be sensual, anger, just across the gamut. She's just a remarkable voice actor, and I know she's good with what she's doing now. I would love to see her go professional, quote unquote, at some point. But for now, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that she's taking my little 2,000 word piece of snake riding and running with it, and people are enjoying it. At the end of the day, it's nice to be able to contribute. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm able to contribute in a way, and I'm not just kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Just taking. I'm giving back a little bit.
Well, I think you've made a really fun series to listen to. It's like, at first, it's like you listen to it and you're like, okay, where are the dark undertones? But then you realize it's a nice, sweet series to listen to, and I kind of like. It's more of like a deconstruction of like the Yandere like type of Lamia type of series, and fuck, it's late. I can't visualize what I'm trying to say. So
I'm glad I'm not the only one with that problem.
I'm glad that it kind of takes the concept of like this non-consensual like getting wrapped up into fucking shit, Stephen. Jesus Christ. I like how it kind of takes this usual thing where it's like, oh, you're captured and you're stuck, to kind of taking it to more of a sweeter and more like realistic approach, while also maintaining that domination aspect that a lot of Lamia fiction uses.
And it does play off the jungle aspect of might makes right. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying, but the fact that the bigger, stronger, animal those are the ones that survive. Those are the ones that prosper. And here we have that same case, but we have that with the intellectual capabilities of a human being, and then the moral conundrum that goes with: do I really need to abuse this power, especially with a creature that's just trying to get by, that's just trying to survive? They think we're all on the same wavelength. They can talk, they can do all the same thing I can, but just physically overmatched. Do I can do whatever I want with them, but is it right? Do I really need to? And that's where that's what I wanted to flesh out in this series. I didn't want it to be just a normal, just like you said. It's like, oh, you've come across me. I'm bigger, stronger than you. I'm more, more beautiful than you. I have all these capabilities. Well, you're coming with me, whether you like it or not.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming, Game. If you guys haven't listened to the series yet, you guys need to go out and do it. It's only 3 episodes long, and hopefully we're getting an episode 4 pretty soon.
I'm working on it. Like I said, hopefully,
everyone go to Discord and bug the crap out of Game. No, please don't do that. He's a busy man.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it myself. He'll wake up to
I know.
85
He's a
DMs
cool dude,
and say,
and he's
"Where's
busy. He's cool and he's busy. Don't do that to him. Leave him alone.
I'm gonna open up my Discord and be like, wow, this is the most popular I've ever felt.
If it's always gonna be like hate comments of where's the script, and he's just gonna like block everyone. He'll be like, it'll be done when it's done. I'll unblock you all when it's finished. But for right now,
And then I'm just gonna be mean and just like wait, not respond to anybody for
oh god,
2
you're gonna
weeks.
intentionally take longer to finish the series. Now
No,
that you pushed me into
and
it,
then
I'm gonna
just-
take even longer to finish the script.
and then just come back and say, yeah, DA said nah, 3's enough. She decided not to.
All right. Well,
But
once again, Game, thank you for coming on the show.
thank you very much for having me. It was a fun hour, and again, you guys keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a good job.
All right, Boggle, thank you for carrying my ass like you usually do.
Yep, that's my job as your co-host.
All right, and be sure to give us likes, comments, tell us you hated the podcast, tell us you love the podcast, let us know that you also are a fan of it. Whatever you guys do, you all have a nice and safe day, and you guys might want to stop in for next week's episode. I'm not going to tell you why, but trust me, you guys are in for a big treat next week.